right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the AMA with DEUS Finance. We are here with OX Epic, which is from Liquid Drivers team, and Lafa also. Welcome, Lafa.
Hey
Hello.
Muon, thank you for having me.
Hey everyone.
Had it. There were a lot of good questions in the AMA chat. Yeah, so I can see that the community here yeah, knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah, we will have a lot of good questions. We've seen all those questions, and they were quite qualitative. Uh, So can you please introduce yourself, Lafa, so the people know
Yes,
more about you here?
yes. So I basically started uh, exploring the crypto space almost 10 years ago, like beginning of 2013. I was like all my life I was like somehow into mathematics and kind of computer nerd. So everyone, like all of my friends, they always ask me like, "Hey, can you fix this or can you do that?" Something with computers. And then in 2013, beginning of 2013, someone asked me like, "Hey, can you explain Bitcoin to me?" And it was like from the first moment, I was like completely immersed. Like the first time I sent a transaction and I basically saw how it is all connected. I did a transaction in one wallet and saw a blockchain explorer uh, kept capturing that transactions in seconds. I was immediately like I couldn't stop researching about it, and from the beginning I was like kind of like a teacher. I explained everything about crypto to everyone because I already had a very good background in how the uh, world economy works and the banking system, because that was something that interested me as a child. So in the first moment I saw Bitcoin, I knew, okay, this will change uh, how we interact with money forever. But it took me around 2 to 3 years until I realized, okay, nothing will change if people like me don't help and contribute to the space. So that's when I basically started becoming a builder in the space. I did my own mining farm, and later in 2017, I started to learn coding. And then I met a lot of developers on the way who, back in the day, Solidity was not, I think like libraries and stuff was not that well developed. Open Zeppelin was just around the corner. And then we basically started working on our own project. Um, then I started DEUS. That's um, based on the need that it was like I wanted to buy like Tesla shares, but I only knew like crypto investing. I had zero idea how to buy like stocks. I researched how to buy like stocks. I asked like a friend from a bank, and basically I realized, okay, you can you cannot really own a stock. Like it's not like you own cryptocurrencies. It's they will always be in a vault in a bank. Like like it's not like they're really like they don't do papers like shares anymore. So it's yeah, and I don't trust banks at all. So I thought like okay, and there was nothing in crypto at that time. And then I started to begin researching. I asked one of the developers I was working with because I realized, okay, from the start, oracles will be a big problem. So I was working together with him. He is building Bright ID. They are doing like the best identity solution. They call it proof of uniqueness. So he was pretty like immersed into Oracle tech. They also were one of the first working on CK rollups. So we started building our own oracles. Uh, Back in that time, we were also contacted by Chainlink and Synthetics, and then we realized, okay, we are really onto something. So we started DEUS, um, and also later what became Muon, because like a decentralized Oracle project is probably too big to handle by like one team. So we added more. Yeah, that's my introduction. How I came to the space, how it all began with DEUS Finance. I think I could just move to the next question.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, to say the least. So do you think you could explain us the relationship between DEI and the backing of your synthetics? I think that's the most relevant question here.
Yes. So because of course when we started DEUS and we were all like tech people, I was the only one with the background in finances. He was basically like, we were focusing on the oracles the most, but one of one of the biggest parts in synthetics is actually counterparty risks. I think that currently we now have a very smart person I'm working with since over 1.5 years. He also wrote the white paper. I think he's also here today, called Max. I think he also answered some questions, but because of the timeout and everything, we couldn't answer them all. But I will answer all questions that were asked in the AMA chat later, or maybe via chat, if we don't have the time today. But the relationship was like, we realized, okay, counterparty risk is what is important. And basically all of the projects that are out there, they're doing somehow like, they're working with over collateralization. And it leads to a point where you're very capital inefficient. I think like synthetics is like 750% over collateralization rate, and they're doing like a pooled over collateralization. Then you have Mirror. They're also like, in Mirror you can basically only mint a stock if you short it. So you need to, in order to be like a creator of an asset, you need to short it. It's also not very flexible. Imagine there is like a bull run on stocks. Why should anyone short them? The only reason how all of this is working in Mirror or synthetics is by them inflating with their own tokens, basically giving people APY in order to create a stake or create a market. In DEUS, we wanted to do this in a way that it's more capital efficient and also more sustainable. So in the beginning, we also theorized or worked in the version 1, we had like vaults, which we're also working with over collateralization. And that's when we realized this is not working, because there's too much capital that just lays around and doesn't generate any fees, because you need 10 times the amount in order for one trade. So we started working on what will now become DEUS V3, which is like a bilateral OTC derivatives exchange, meaning that counterparty risk is decentralized and isolated, meaning every trader goes into a direct peer-to-peer trade with a counterparty. And in the current version, which is kind of like a transition phase from version 1 to version 3, we are basically doing it with DEI. So we have DEI, which is like a fractional stablecoin, similar to Frax. And you can basically, like, whenever there's someone making a profit, there will be under collateralized DEI minted, that arbitrage bots can take that arbitrage opportunity and basically buy back and recollateralize the pool, similar to how Frax is working. We also implemented an insurance fund in the current version, meaning so if someone is like making a loss, there will be DEI sent to an insurance fund in order to build up a treasury. In later versions, we will completely decentralize that part, meaning every third party can build their own financial instruments on top of DEUS, and can basically have their own economical models. The only thing that we require is for them to use DEI. And that's where it gets interesting, because derivatives have like the most trading volume and also like capitalization in all of the markets. I think it's 20, 30, 40, 50 times bigger than the stock market. It's like basically the biggest money market in the world. And if we are decentralizing that, meaning everyone will be able to create his own financial instruments, of course, if the interest and knowledge is given, I think that this could be even more increasing, like the volume and the size of that market. And the only requirement we have is that all of those trades are done in DEUS and DAY, which is partially backed by DEUS, and that's how like all of our tokenomics come into play. So we have all the volume is basically burning DEUS. Whenever there's new DAY minted for someone who wants to trade on DEUS, he needs to burn DEUS. Yeah. So the risk is basically migrated by creating an arbitrage opportunity.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. Should we? Let's move on to the user questions, shall we?
Yes. Yes.
So everybody wants to know, like, what made you come to Fantom in the first place?
So I was actually like, I bought my first Fantom in like beginning of 2020, I think, and staked since then. Really, like the impulse to come to Fantom was basically through Dr. Liquid. He said that people on Fantom are demanding a synthetics protocol. Would be exciting to move to Fantom. So we said, okay, we should partner up. You would incentivize our liquidity on the pools, and yeah, we would bring synthetics to Fantom. So yeah, it basically came through him, the idea.
Nice, nice. So how would exactly DEUS add value to LQDR, and how do you see us like benefiting from this proposal that you posted on Medium article 2 days ago?
So basically, we will like, first of all we will like bring synthetics to Fantom, increasing the overall like variety of products on the chain, and also on top of that, we are going to like give DEUS tokens for in exchange for in-spirit votes on Spirit Swap. So in order to increase our liquidity, we are basically bribing Liquid Driver with DEUS, and DEUS itself, if there's more trading volume, as I said before, DEUS needs to be bought from the open market, needs to be burned. I think creates a win-win situation. Yes.
Cool. So what is the unique selling proposition, you would say? Because is there any other protocol offering the same thing as you are, or are you unique in this way? And if not,
I think like in our current, like already in our current early stage, we have already like I think 20 times the synthetics as like synthetic markets compared to Miro or synthetics. So based on that, I would say also we have very low spread. There is like only 0.1% spread on stocks. We have also Forex. And with our next upgrade, we will bring leverage on all crypto assets up to like, Bitcoin, Ethereum up to 125%. Basically, you will be able to trade Binance futures, like the whole future market of Binance on chain, and also through DAY again, which burns DEUS. So we're expecting a huge volume there. That's pretty exciting for me. One of the most exciting parts. Also, what we already discussed in the AMA chat, what will be possible. We are already working on a quick document about this. Is like interest rate swaps, meaning people could create a derivative, like a synthetic of their yield positions on Liquid Driver, and we could be the first ones to actually offer that in all of crypto.
Yeah, I think people are very excited about what you're offering and what you're planning to bring to Fantom. I mean, having the Binance trades would be pretty awesome. You said what, up to 125x leverage?
Yeah,
Yes. So what DEUS free is, in order to explain it in layman's terms. So what DEUS free is like an isolated peer-to-peer derivatives platform, meaning you can go into a trade directly with a market maker, with a counterparty, and the counterparty, he can basically offer everything he has access to. So if there is a market maker who has like access to future markets on Binance, he could go into a counter trade with someone. So someone could basically say, okay, I want to go leverage 100x on Bitcoin. And then there would be a counterparty who has access to a market where he could hedge himself. And then he could just go into a counter trade position with that trader. In the first versions, we will basically build those systems ourselves, meaning we will have like a hedging system, and we are the counterparty. But of course, we want to build a system where everyone could create his own hedging strategies and be a counterparty. That's why we have that slogan, "Be your own Binance," because like we are basically offering a platform where everyone can create his own future markets anonymously. It's just an Ethereum address, which also, a lot of people raise questions about regulatory things. We as DEUS, we are not providing anything ourselves as DEUS. It's always only like third parties and like basically everyone could do it. So we are just providing the stable coin and the collateral platform. Yes.
So nobody would be geo-blocked from your website, for example.
Like we on the DEUS website itself, you will never be able to take a trade. Never. It's just we're just providing infrastructure and contracts. So there is already third party front ends. Like SpiritSwap will now become the next. We have DCIMs, and we are always working on onboarding more third party front ends. This was inspired by Uniswap is hosting a lot of front ends, but they're all doing it for Uniswap, so it's really their website. But for example, there is Liquidity. They are having the LUSD on Ethereum, and they are basically also like there is like everyone can basically host a front end. We want to do it in a very easy way. Probably at some point we will do it very similar to how Snapshot is doing it, where you can just create your own swap page. Like you do a Snapshot governance page on Snapshot.
Yeah, that would be really easy. Recently, there has been a lot of issues with congestion in the network. Do you see that as any kind of risk related to your products that you're offering?
Like in DEUS, like in V3, it will basically like for now, we never had any issues because you're not trading against someone else. You're not trading against someone else. You're getting the Oracle price live. So about like if you have any congestion on the network, you still have your like the price that was signed. So it's not like there is someone who can front run you or change the price. That was also something where we saw issues with Chainlink because they have like this deviation threshold after 0.5% they update the price. So people could always front run it on Ethereum mainnet at least. So what we did was a little bit different. And that is also something that a lot of people in the questions didn't quite get, that Muon itself is not an oracle. It's just a decentralized node network. So you can build oracles on top of that, but it's not an oracle itself. So everyone in the future, if you build your own derivatives financial instruments, you can also build your own oracle around it, and you just use the Muon infrastructure in order to host it. But it's your oracle. You can decide which price feeds to take, how to calculate deviations threshold. Because I think stuff like this, if you go like very like if it's a very sensitive thing, decentralizing it and making it possible for everyone to build his own idea or his own scripts or oracles, it brings like you have a lot of smart minds, and I never would think that I would be able to build the best oracle in the world. But if you give other people the infrastructure so they can build the best oracle, you will end up in a free market. You will end up at some point with the best oracle built on top of Muon. That's what we wanted to do. So yeah.
So you mentioned Muon there just now. How does Muon tie into all of this? If you could just explain to everybody.
Yes. So it was like probably a year ago or something where we started working on our oracles. It was still one project. We were working with Marty, who was on Bright ID together. He was like our advisor. We started working on the oracles, and then we basically got someone joined the DEUS Discord from Synthetics. He was like, I don't know, contributing code as a free app. He was not from the Synthetics core team, but he was somehow a contributor. And he asked us a lot about our oracles. And then he basically opened to us that Chainlink or that Synthetics has some issues with Chainlink. And that was the moment when we realized, okay, maybe the idea we had with the oracles that are like kind of like live, feeding live prices, could be something that people could be interested in. So we focused on decentralizing it a lot faster, and that's when we said, okay, we should actually split the teams, have like an independent team working on it in order to drive its development faster. So that's basically when we decided, okay, Muon, the decentralized node network, should be a separate project from DEUS, the Synthetics network infrastructure. So yeah, but now we built the oracles that we had before on our network. We basically rebuilt them and installed them on Muon, which was an easy process. I think it took us like 3 days or something. So and now it's running on Muon, which means it has like a lot of nodes. There's already on Muon there are already like partner projects. For example, Muon was the first to implement single player play to earn games, like together with our partner Fear NFTs. And they have like a browser shooter where you shoot chickens basically. And together with Muon, we were able to make this such like proof like for hackers. Like so they built like milestones, and it's running on Muon. So Muon is verifying all the time if someone is like trying to cheat the system and trying to fake telling the browser that he's playing the game without actually playing it. We also had like one attack already where we sustained. There was someone like with an army of bots trying to actually hack the system, but he wasn't able to do it based on Muon. Was also the time when we had like the most requests on the network in a short period of time. Because how Muon is built, we can actually implement like anti-bot protections and like something that is like blocking IPs if there's too many requests. All of those things we could with Muon. You could basically also integrate CAPTCHA into your DApp. So that's pretty exciting for most of the games. But for us, it was important to have like a lot of stock price feeds. So there is also a stock API with I think 50,000 stocks right now. So if if anyone on Liquid Driver has like some favorite stocks that he wants to trade, DEUS could basically add anything. We were also the first to implement pre-IDOs, where people could trade Coinbase on DEUS. Like I think one day we were even faster than FTX listing them. Yeah, in the future I would say with DEUS it will be possible to trade anything. We have like one whale who bought into DEUS like first day. He was always excited about like trading. How's it called? I think like living cattle. Yes, that's what he was the most excited about. Yeah. So because like most of them are, and this is not something that is true for for all of our development. We want to like make everything accessible to anyone, because in most parts of the world, people don't even have a bank account. They can only dream of trading stocks. I think this is also the reason why crypto is booming like this, because everyone can have access to cryptos. And now with most of the trades being done on decentralized exchanges, everyone has access to anything. But it's only true for crypto. It's not true for derivatives. And DEUS wants to change that. It wants to make it more easy for people that know financial instruments to create them, and also more easy for traders to get access to them. Yeah,
That's pretty exciting. When can we expect to be able to trade these stocks, for example, on Spirit Swap?
So I cannot speak for the Spirit Swap team. Like of course we're in connections with them, and we're like discussing. We're providing them with our technology so they can integrate it. But I cannot give any dates for when they will actually launch it. But like we already have the platform decence.com, and we are deploying our synthetics to Fantom on tomorrow. So probably Sunday. Like, oh, by the way, there will be an also a live stream with FTM alerts, and in that live stream, yeah, it will be possible. That is our goal. So you could already trade basically tomorrow or Sunday. You will be able to trade the synthetics on Fantom. When they will be accessible on Spirit Swap, like I cannot give any exact dates for that.
Yeah, I think what we meant was just like, when can we get hands on those?
Yeah,
that's great. Awesome.
Yeah. So we also created DEI and DEUS pools already on Spirit Swap. And yeah, today we will, as far as I discussed it with Dr. Liquid, after the AMA, we will provide a snapshot, and 72 hours later, if the quorum was reached, we will deploy our pools on Liquid Driver. Yeah, so pretty soon, I would say. Everything.
Excited for that.
Yeah.
You talked about how big the market could potentially be. Could you clarify a bit? How do you see the market growing, for example, this year in terms of synthetics?
So, like back when we started with DEUS, we were like contacted by one hedge fund based in New York, and they were basically saying to us like, "Hey, look, we analyzed everything of crypto, and we know that synthetics are the biggest. It will be the biggest market in crypto, and you with your own Oracle solution could be one of the biggest projects in terms of derivatives." And that was way before we had any ideas about V3. So I'm just checking if I can find that graph, because also like if you go to my Twitter, it's basically my background photo. You can see how big the derivatives market is compared to the stock market and compared to other markets. So derivatives is like the big thing, and in crypto, I feel like everything around derivatives is pretty limited, because like crypto is very good for spot trading. Obviously, everything we do is spot, meaning you do a trade and you get the asset. You do a yield farm and you're getting the actual, like you're getting the asset. But in derivatives, it's all about like creating like bets of bets and like leverage. Here you can see derivatives 1 quadrillion compared to stocks at 90 trillion, so it's 10 times. But I think they don't know how big the market actually is. It is like one of the biggest businesses probably, and it is a lot, like immensely bigger than anything else. And and it's basically closed, like only banks. If you know the the movie The Big Short.
Yeah.
In that movie is one of my most favorite movies, and in that movie he's going to the banks, and he's together with the bank, he's creating a derivative. They give him that 100-page contract, and then he creates a financial instrument together with the bank. But it's very closed. Only banks can do it. And for example, there was in the movie, the other guys, they wanted to buy them, and they couldn't even buy them without having like a license to buy or to do like a derivative like this. So it's a very closed market. And I always think, if you open something for everyone to participate, that is basically what the internet did. You will create something vastly better than anything before, because now everyone can be involved, everyone can get his head around. And on Ethereum and with Solidity and blockchain technology, the ability to create financial instruments is very limited, because you don't have access to all data sources. The way how you can calculate things is very limited. So what DEUS is trying to do is make all of this more easy and create the infrastructure, so you can basically drag and drop your derivatives into existence.
It's safe to say it's very exciting stuff.
We put it like sorry.
Yeah, continue.
We put it like, I remember like daily, like we met. I was living in Cyprus, and I met together with Max, and we were like discussing on a daily basis like how we could actually create a synthetics platform that is sustainable in the long run. Because in the long run, only a sustainable system will win. If it's based on inflating a token to create APY, it will not work long term. It needs to be sustainable. Counterparty risks, everything needs to be sustainable. So yeah. Good.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one more question here. I'm not sure if it's already been discussed, but you mentioned on a recent Medium article that DEUS Finance will allow these OTC interest rate swap positions. And we take LQDR APR, for example. This could be beneficial to our community. So is this something that could be possible?
Yes. So me and Max, we already we are currently working on our white paper. So our time is very limited on the side. So we haven't finished our document yet, but we started basically discussing it to have a step-by-step description of how that could work. But in order to give you a quick understanding of when you buy, for example, when you buy a synthetics on DCIMS right now, you as the trader, you're basically paying 100% of the trade. Let's say there's a trade, there is one side and the other side, the buyer and the seller. And for example, on synthetics, you have the sellers are the stakers, and they deposit like 750% more than the traders. So one trade, you have in total 850% of capital locked. In DEUS, we will now reduce this, so the buyer is depositing 100%, or even like in the end it will be even less. So he's maybe depositing 100%, but his capital is not locked, and he can create more trades. So he's actually taking leverage on the position, and the counterparty only has 20%. So both parties deposit a stable coin, and then they create a derivatives contract of the yield on Liquid Driver, saying that the buyer, he needs to pay, I don't know, 150% per annum to the seller, and the seller is paying him what yield he is getting on Liquid Driver. But he's not actually like taking out the yield from Liquid Driver and giving it to him, but there will be oracles that verify how much yield there was generated, and based on that, the balances of both people change. So in this, it will be like you will have a platform, and it's only the balances that change anymore. Of course, if you're a trader, like, okay, if it's like for investing, yeah, holding spot and putting it on your hardware wallet and actually being like like having it on your own custody makes sense. But for most of the traders, they're only interested in the profit in the end. They're buying something and they want to sell it again at a higher price, and it's only about the profit that is made. And in DEUS, we are basically doing that by changing the balances of the people based on Oracle inputs. So everyone can go into a trade with anything if there is an Oracle to verify it. If we have an Oracle that verifies the APR of something on Liquid Driver, and of course, if the seller is basically reporting that he was like he only made like 127% in yield, but the Oracle is basically saying it's 129, he will get 129% subtracted. So that's how it will work in a very vast idea. We can go into more detail with Dr. Liquid. I'm sure he's also interested in that. And then you can basically create leverage positions on your yield, because it's just changing some variables.
So you mean there could be some additional benefits to in that way?
Yeah, there could be some form of leveraged yield farming, or yeah. In derivatives, it's all about leverage and capital efficiency, and I think that is what ultimately DeFi is. If you check what's happening in DeFi, the focus is always switching to the protocol giving you highest leverage, best capital efficiency. And I think what we are creating at DEUS with our isolated counterparty peer-to-peer trades will be the most capital efficient system in crypto.
Okay, interesting. There was one question that popped up a couple of times. How would the synthetic stock market trading work after hours, for example?
Because so of course, like in the current version, like in the base version, you're trading live on the stock market. So there can be no there can be no trading when there is no trading on the real stock market, because insiders could use that information of what they get outside of the trading hours. But someone could basically create a protocol on top of DEUS and create like something like a Bancor version or a Uniswap version where you can trade his assets outside of market hours. So this would be something that is possible. Trading live on stock prices based on DEUS would not be possible. But pre-market hours and after market hours are included. As soon as there is like an API, as soon as there is like trades, there is also a market on DEUS.
Yeah, I think that answered the question pretty well.
Yes.
So could you talk a bit more about the long-term vision of the platform? Like where do you see DEUS going in the future?
As I said, like we are automizing derivatives and financial instruments, and there's like a huge market like for this. Like I know that the international ISDA, they're working together with like close blockchain projects in order to integrate this into banking systems. But of course, then it will be closed blockchains, and it will just decrease their management fees. But I think an open decentralized version of that could be even bigger. So our focus is on creating the infrastructure and making it as easy as possible for someone to build on top of it. So you could compare DEUS like more to like a protocol like Ethereum. We will be working on making it easy for developers to deploy, something like, if you're like familiar with how Ethereum came into existence, I think like from 2015 even if it was around until 2017 and later, there were basically not a lot of projects on Ethereum because there were not the development tools, libraries, everything was not developed. So our focus on DEUS is to create those libraries, development tools, so people can create their Oracle on top of Muon very fast, can create their own what we call master agreements. A master agreement is basically a set of rules that define how someone could trade. And then, of course, making it very capital efficient and attractive for market makers to provide liquidity through DEUS. Maybe it could be so interesting that the market makers who provide liquidity to Binance could at some point think, could be interesting to actually offer our liquidity also to people on DEUS Finance directly, lowering the spreads even more. So that's what will be important in the future, making it easy to build and also attractive for liquidity providers. So they're farming yield on DEUS, like they do it on Binance, or like they do it on stockbrokers, there's a bank providing liquidity. So that would be the optimal case, to make it so attractive that banks want to provide liquidity on DEUS.
I mean, I kind of feel like they are already coming to the space, so you are right on time, I would say.
Yeah, I saw that Aave is working with some. I saw some. Yeah, it's going into that direction. This is in 2013. It was always that was my that is how I saw the future, and now getting more and more and more and more reality. 8 years ago, basically everyone was saying you're crazy. What are you talking about? And now not so crazy yet. Yeah. No.
Yeah, now it's all coming true.
Yes.
It's amazing to see. Is there anything else you would like to add? I think we have covered pretty much every topic so far.
For me, I was pretty amazed by the quality of the questions. So I'm pretty excited to go on this journey on Fantom together with Liquid Driver and the community here. I feel like they have good inputs, and that is something that I feel is the what gives us the most, or the biggest advantage over corporates and old structures, is that in crypto you are very, very close to the community. It's sometimes that is bad, but most of the time, if you can really pick the right feedback, it is very valuable. And I'm very excited to get as much feedback as possible from the Liquid Driver community. I think that is what gives us a real advantage in crypto. That we're so close to the community, and every year.
I could not agree more than that. Thank you so much, Lafa, for your time. It's been amazing to have you here. Very insightful conversation. Thank you to the community. It's been amazing to have you guys here. Anything else from your side? I think otherwise we can just move the chat to the text-based version.
Yes, perfect. Yeah. Then I will get something to eat because I haven't eaten all day.
Completely understand.
Yes, good. Thank you very much for hosting. It was a pleasure talking to you. Did a great job.
Thank you.
See you soon, guys. See you soon. And every question, just tag me in the chat. I will be happy to answer it. Bye-bye.
Yes.
See you.
Bye. Bye, guys.